Welcome back, viewers. Welcome back to The Narrative. I'm on with Senator Andre Lewis, head of the Trade Union Council in Grenada. We're discussing government's move to establish workers in the government service who have worked without any security of tenure thus far. Some 300 workers in a first phase of a three-phase rollout of what was an election promise by the Dickon Mitchell-led administration to regularize people who are employed with the government outside of the Public Service Commission under 8 separate instruments that the government used, the past administration used, to employ people in the government in an attempt to keep the wage bill down. Welcome back. When it comes to the regularization of workers who were acting in positions, the 300 workers whose status might be clearer in terms of moving them into established positions, and their size, it's not that much, 300 really. But when we talk about the Imanis and a lot of the contract workers, there are hundreds more of them within the system, and where a new sort of structure might have to be created to accommodate them and to give them a security of tenure as government employees, the union, you would desire that the union is part of crafting that, I suppose.
Well, I don't know about any different arrangement. What I know is that we should be discussing matters related to our members. And what we are clear about is we have been calling for the permanency of all workers within the service. Yes, so let me repeat that. Right? For us, we have been calling for the permanency of all workers within the service. We know that in the past, and it is continuing now, that different schemes have been brought about to have workers employed so that they will not enjoy certain benefits, right? But
I
at the
think I
same
think there
time,
are eight. I think there are eight different types of vehicles by which one could work for the government, and that was because in order to try to keep the wage bill low, and not bring people into established
you mean at the
positions.
exploitation of workers, by extension of what you're saying. If I was to expand what you have said in an effort to keep the wage bill down, and you could only keep the wage bill down by paying someone less than what is due to them. In other
Well,
words, technically,
it seems to be going to the number of people in the established positions, which come with greater benefits, the increments, the perks, and the salaries, those established positions, because the government had embarked on a non-hiring of under the established provisions to avoid inflating the wage bill. That was the reason under the last administration that this was done, and they created those 8 different ways that you
yeah,
can come into the public
yeah,
service.
I
So,
know.
but that's what it was. That was the end
So we need
game.
to
That
fix
it
that, and
costs
the
more
best
to
way to
hire
fix that,
somebody as an established worker. So how do you fix
right?
that?
We have to make the workers permanent. In other words, just as so the current prime minister, then political leader, said that it was illegal. I mean, remember, these are not anything new, right? So this is not something that this administration has started. They have all done it, right? I mean, all the administration going back to after the fall of the revolution. Interestingly enough, you follow me, right? And the prime minister, no prime minister, then political leader, was absolutely correct then and know that this is illegal. And the question that would arise, should we continue an illegal act where the political will must be there to fix an illegal act? The point wasn't made that it is immoral. The point was made that it's illegal, and he's absolutely correct. It is different if one is arguing that, this is unfair, right? But once it is illegal, the state ought not to carry out or continue an illegal act. And one of the major differences that this current administration can continue to differentiate itself from the past administration is by not continuing to perform an illegal act for the working class people.
you would want to see to provide a remedy to this problem is that they are all given established positions within the public service, under the Public Service Commission, and the other constitutional and established structures that exist for employing or for
No,
government, for public workers,
no, let me
hiring public
start here.
workers.
The first thing I would, because I know that there are complex issues. The issue here for us as a start has to do with the security of tenure. Because remember, we have said that these are the things that are preventing employees from being able to go to a financial institution. Yes, we have been struggling for the permanency of these positions in keeping with Section 29(5) of the Employment Act, which says that there are two types of contracts: either a fixed term contract, and when that's done, you're done, or for a specific task, once that task is finished, you're done, or for indefinite period. And it says where a contract is purportedly for a fixed term or a um, um, task, but it is to carry out work of an indefinite nature, then these contracts would deem to be permanent or contract of an indefinite nature. You see, I'm holding on to this because it was clearly stated during the campaign that what the past administration was doing was illegal. And that to me is what we have to hold on to. It was
But,
illegal. So let's get to
there is no indication that this administration does not intend to fix the illegal practice. The only question is how, what method they would use and how they would do it. Did you make, in meeting with the government, the administration months ago, were there any specific recommendations that you made on how to remedy this problem?
Well, we have been having ongoing discussions, and that is what I'm saying. That I mean, the next thing that we knew months after is that there is a press conference today. Yes. Um, so for us, and I wish to repeat, and for the worker that we have engaged with over the years, and for the cries that have been outside there, is to have a security of tenure. And we all know that within the public service, even all permanent workers didn't always enjoy the same benefits. But what they had was tenure of service, that security of service. So I'm pointing in a particular direction that engagements will also allow to be addressed. But I'm becoming a bit more concerned. And I'm becoming a bit more concerned because you have indicated that it was reported that these matters will be influenced based on a review by some external body, I think some Canadian body, right, as to what is the optimum size of the public service, what is required. So I'm now hearing something new. And the workers obviously may start to become concerned. And therefore, the administration has a responsibility, if this is the case, to reassure the workers that their employment will not be in jeopardy. Because this now is also a different kettle of fish. It is one thing to be in a system where you are clamoring to be made permanent in keeping with the law. But it brings an added doubt or added concern where a review is being undertaken to determine what is the optimum size of the public service. And then a determination will be made for phase two or phase three. When there are workers whose career has been within the public service, and it matters not what you call a worker, what terminology you use. As the Prime Minister correctly said then, they are workers, whether you call them Imani, whether or not you call them contract workers, whatever you call them, they are workers. And therefore, under the law, they are expected to be permanent employees or have security of tenure.
and based on the Prime Minister's utterances at the news conference that they called on this, he still recognizes and still believes that these workers have been wronged in the way they have been engaged over the years.
And I admire that.
The choice of words that he
And that's
used,
great.
he acknowledged that they were wronged and a wrong needs to be righted. Well, we're
Right, and that's what we
just,
are calling for.
but it's
And
going to
what
be
you see, that's the issue,
expensive to do
cholesterol.
it,
That's the issue,
to
cholesterol,
establish
because the
everybody.
issue
So
of
it's going to,
expense, issue of expense, and that's the issue. Because we have been hearing that in the past. The issue of expense. Expense ought not to be a factor once something is wrong. If something is illegal, we need to fix it. And the excuse must not be and should not be that of course, if it is wrong, fix it. And therefore, the political will is required to fix that wrong. And it is good, at least, that the current prime minister is still accepting that it was wrong. And a wrong has been done, and therefore means that if a wrong has been done, a wrong is continuing. Are you following me? It therefore
but
means that a wrong is continuing.
I'm
Because
not
we
sure if
process.
he still considers it illegal, because I didn't hear him talk about illegal, but he
No, but
definitely
if you agree,
believes that the workers have been wronged
no,
so
but
far.
if it was illegal then, it must be illegal now. Would you agree that? I'm saying,
Yes, yes.
if it was illegal then, it must be legal now, right? And these are or- ordinary working class people that gets up every morning and goes to work, right? And as I'm on this, I want to make an appeal to the administration to address the health and safety issues within the service. A number of
At the ministerial complex, though, because I wanted to raise this with you as we're coming to the end of our interview, at the ministerial complex, where most of the floors, except for the sixth floor, they have been without any sort of air conditioning, and there have been issues there. Are the unions looking into this?
Well, what I could tell you is that I'm aware that not only at the ministerial complex, the Ministry of Health, but also at the financial complex, that the health and safety conditions there has deteriorated seriously. That quite a number of the workers have been given permission to go home either at midday or 2 o'clock. Yes, um, a number of people have concerns about molds, etc. Right? Because the condition is terrible. That's what I've been told by my senior colleagues. Right? So the people have been blaming the workers that they go to the ministerial complex or wherever to a government office, and the workers are not there at 2 o'clock, and workers are not turning up to work. But no, the workers have been granted, to my information. My information is that the workers have been told that they can leave at 12 or 2, because although the outside of the buildings have been painted, the inside of the buildings have not been addressed. So the conditions has deteriorated. The conditions have been
But I
deteriorated.
have seen a number of notices from the government about addressing health and safety issues, including at the financial complex. I'm sure I recall seeing something like that. They were doing some work there.
No, it's quite possible. But where we are now, based on my information, is that even where some of the rented properties that may have been rented outside of government buildings may not even be fully occupied. Yes, may not be fully occupied. So I'm just saying that these are matters that needs to be looked into. Um, the AC units have been seriously compromised. I sat in Parliament yesterday, and you may have recognized that almost everyone was fanning. And I'm saying that it may be 10 times worse in the other government buildings. Maybe 10 times
There
worse.
was no AC in the parliament yesterday. It was just overworked.
No, I can't. What I do know is that I saw people are fanning, which is um, unusual. I'm using this as an indication that us as leaders and the responsibility and the position that we hold, we need to do everything to make sure that the people who carry out the function every day at the workplaces have certain levels of comfort. And we know that in this time, we are going through extreme heat in the country. right?
It's a heat
Workers are
wave.
complaining.
We've been through
Yeah,
numerous heat
workers are
waves, yes.
complaining. Workers are complaining about the heat. The ACs are not working. Um, um, the conditions, there are moles, etc. Right? So we need to give some urgency to these matters in the public service and anywhere else that it may be happening, but certainly anywhere else that it may be happening. But because this is a public sector discussion, I'm raising this because only this morning I spoke to one of my senior colleagues from one of the from the Public Workers Union. Yes, and these things has been happening for a while. These things have been happening for a while, so they need to be addressed.
All right, I want to thank you so much for joining me on The Narrative. Senator Andre Lewis, head of the Trade Union Council of Grenada and President General of the Technical and Allied Workers Union. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, and all the very best to you and Grenada.
This is The Narrative. I'm your storyteller, Callistra Farrier. More when we come back.